Hello, it's Emma here. I'm a personal trainer, health coach, yoga teacher, and Reiki master. And as always, I'm here to give you some tips about how to make exercise not only more enjoyable, but more feminine and more spiritual and more holistic. And this week, I really wanted to talk to you about the 5 different types of exercise and how they can help you not only physically, but also, emotionally, spiritually, body, mind, and spirit. So you might be wondering what the 5 different types of exercise are. Is it swimming? Is it yoga? Is it running? Is it fitness classes? Is it using gym equipment? Is it weights? And although they're obviously all different types of exercise, what I'm really talking about is the different ways that exercise affects us physically. So the 5 different types of exercise are strength, flexibility, cardiovascular, endurance, and balance. All of these exercise types are really important for different types of physical attributes and the way that they can help our bodies function. And they're really, really important, especially as we age. But all of these types of exercises are also really important for our emotional health and our spiritual health, and to help us cope not only physically, but with everything that happens around us on an emotional level as well. So in this video, I wanted to talk to you about all 5 different types of exercise, one at a time, give you some examples of how you can do these exercises, and then also how they help you both physically and emotionally. The first type of exercise I wanted to talk about is strength. And so strength exercises are obviously ones that help your body become stronger. Now, the reason why this is important functionally probably is pretty easy to understand. It helps us, lift things if we need to. If our child is sick, we can pick them up. Or if we've got heavy shopping from the car to the house, like helping us be strong with lifting things and carrying things and being able to take things from one place to another. Pretty obvious what strength training does. So different types of strength training that you can try is, of course, using weights, either free weights or weighted machines at the gym. You can also use body weight exercises. But even things like some types of yoga poses are really strengthening. Pilates is very strengthening, particularly for the core. And even things like swimming, if you're, or water acro aerobics, when you're using the water as resistance, that can be really strengthening as well. So there's lots of different ways that you can strengthen your body. But in terms of our emotional or spiritual health, of course, when we feel strong, especially in the core, and most strength exercises are going to help you feel strong in your core, which is obviously your abdominal area at the front, but also your spine and your lower back, and even your thighs, which are all really important strengthening areas of your body. And they help to keep you upright, and they help to keep you, be able to carry things. But they're also really important parts of our bodies when it comes to our emotional health, particularly through the core area. This really is where the solar plexus is. This is where our area of resilience comes from. This is where our willpower comes from. This is where our personal power comes from, and our ability to stand up for ourselves. So it's really important to stay strong in the core so that we can be strong in our lives, stand up for ourselves and what we believe in. The second type of exercise I want to talk about is cardiovascular, and this is probably another one that you're completely aware of. And I think for a lot of people, this is the sort of exercise that makes them roll their eyes and think, I hate exercising, because it's the type of exercise that gets our heart rate going. It usually develops us like a sweat. It can also make us puff and find it hard to talk, and can make you red in the face. So all those things that a lot of people don't enjoy about exercise can be associated with cardiovascular exercise. Now, this is really important because it keeps our heart healthy, and that means that we're less likely to have chronic diseases and create things like cholesterol and other problems that we can develop as we age. So cardiovascular health is so important because obviously we need our heart beating for our blood flow, we need our heart and lungs to work well together, and that's what we get from good cardiovascular exercise. So some of the ways you can do this is obviously through running, swimming, walking really fast, but also obviously some types of yoga can be cardiovascular. I use kettlebells a lot, which are strengthening, but when you're using them for like swings, for example, which is a fast moving exercise, that will get your heart rate up. You can dance, you know, there's so many different ways that you can get the heart rate up, and it doesn't have to be that traditional like red face, sweaty, can't talk, feel bad about myself kind of exercise. So keep that in mind. You don't have to do it traditionally to get the benefits from it. You can do it in ways that feel good to you. Now, of course, on an energetic level, cardiovascular exercise has a lot to do with the heart and the heart chakra. And this is about love and kindness and compassion, and to be able to give love and receive love, right? So if we want to be the sort of person that walks around with a healthy regard for ourselves and a healthy love for ourselves, and to be able to give and receive love from other people, it's really important to keep this heart chakra healthy. And one of the ways you can do that is through cardiovascular exercise. The third type of exercise that I wanted to talk about is flexibility, or like stretching kind of exercises. So obviously yoga, some types of Pilates, but even just stretching before and after other types of exercise like strength training or cardiovascular training is really, really important. We get so focused in the Western world on our muscles and how hard we're working out that we forget that when we strengthen the muscles without looking after the connective tissue and the joints, then we're going to overload those areas, and we're going to probably get more injured, and we're going to feel sore and tired and all those kind of things. A lot of people think that they have sore joints because they've put on weight, but often it's because they're just not doing enough stretching. They're not taking care of their joints, and that's why they hurt. It's not because you're old necessarily or because you're putting on weight, but it's because you're not taking care of those areas. And I swear, if I had $1 for every person who said I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible, I'd be, you know, at least $100 richer because people say that to me all the time. And really, yoga is not about becoming flexible necessarily. It's about making space in your joints and giving yourself that opportunity to stretch, which is so important for making sure your whole body is functioning well. Now, in terms of our spiritual selves or our emotional selves, flexibility is so important because it teaches us that we don't have to do things in one way, that we can be flexible in our lives. And I think for some people, so much sadness or unhappiness or frustration or anger comes in their lives because they expect things to happen in a certain way. When we look at flexibility and we see that we can do things in different ways and that we can be flexible on a mental level, that actually helps us to be happier. We don't have to do things always in exactly the, you know, in the certain way that we think we have to. And being flexible allows us to enjoy life, and it allows us to see things outside the box, and it allows us to experience things in a way that we may not have if we'd not been flexible. So it's important to remember that flexibility really helps us both physically but also emotionally as well. The fourth type of exercise I want to talk about is balance. And balance is really important, especially as we age, because it helps to prevent falls. And one of the ways that people get really unwell as they get older and can sometimes die suddenly is from having a fall and breaking their hip and not being able to recover. So getting good at balancing is really great, so that if you feel like you're going to fall over, you can right yourself and help yourself come back to an equilibrium. So balance is so important from a functional standpoint. Some of the ways you can get good at balance or work on your balance is, of course, yoga has balancing poses. But so do things like Tai Chi and Qigong and lots of other beautiful kind of alternative types of exercise. Also, if you're very strong, because strength and balance can sort of be two sides of the same coin, as you become stronger, you might be able to do certain strength exercises maybe on one leg at a time, which will help to look after your balance as well. So sometimes you can incorporate different types of exercise together. So as I said, sometimes strength and cardio with like kettlebells, but also you could do strength and balance with some exercises doing them on one leg or on one arm or that kind of thing as well. Now, from a spiritual level or from an emotional level, we need more balance in our lives. And so many of us are so focused on what we want to achieve and how many things we've got to do and how many people we've got to please and all those things, that we forget that we need rest and that we need time out and that we need time alone to really flourish and to have ideas and to think outside the box and to do things in a different way or to refresh our lives. So hopefully if you continue to do balancing exercises in your exercise routine, you'll remember about balance in life, and that sometimes you need rest or sometimes you need to go hard. You know, sometimes you can't rest as much as you'd like because the balance, you know, you've got to get the balance right. So remember that balance is important both in your exercise routines, but also in life in general. The last type of exercise I want to talk about is endurance. So endurance is just about being able to do exercise or fitness or any type of movement for longer and longer periods of time. And so you know, the most traditional way of thinking about this would be something like a marathon. Not that I'm asking you to rush out and train for a marathon, but that's the ultimate, right? Is to be able to run for, you know, 3 hours or whatever. Not asking you to do that. But endurance exercises can be done with any of the exercises I've mentioned. It's just about getting to do it for longer and longer periods of time, over a period of time, right? So it might take you 6 months to be able to run a kilometer rather than, you know, being able to do it in 2 weeks. And endurance exercises are really important because it helps us being able to, you know, get on with our day, be able to maintain our energy levels, be able to, you know, deal with, you know, a family crisis, a work crisis, and our own self-care all in the one day, right? So when we build up our endurance, we're able to look after ourselves in multiple places at multiple times. And it does remind us, if I go back to the marathon metaphor, that life is a marathon, it's not a sprint in most cases. So it reminds us that, you know, just because we want to achieve something doesn't mean it has to happen tomorrow. It doesn't have to happen the next day. These things take time, and sometimes the best things take time because we've put a lot of effort into it and we can see our achievements pay off over a period of time, and that's what endurance can teach us. So these are the 5 different types of exercises that are all really important for us on a physical level, but I hope I've shown you how they're really important to us on an emotional and spiritual level as well. And just to remind you that no matter what the fitness industry says, exercise isn't just about having a six-pack or losing weight or looking a certain way. It really is about feeding our bodies from an emotional and spiritual level as well. And it's to remind us that, you know, if you have an able body, please be grateful for it and please show it some love by moving your body regularly, because we're so lucky to be able to do it. And being able to try all these 5 different types of exercises is one way to remember that. And if you want to know more about exercise and maybe looking at it from a different angle, please download my free Moon Phases fitness plan. It gives you 4 different videos that you can follow for the 4 main phases of the moon, because we do have different levels of energy and motivation throughout the month. And these different exercise videos will show you how you can follow your own levels of motivation and energy throughout the month so that you'll want to exercise and you'll continue to do it. So thanks for watching this week's video, and I look forward to seeing you soon.